Last spins episode, we lost to 250. So we're going to be starting at the $100 level. And the rules of the spins generally is if you win one, you move up in stakes. If you lose two, you move down in stakes. Now, near the top of the ladder, it gets more difficult. The rule at the $100 level is you have to win two to move up to the 250s. And if you lose two, you move down to the 50s. And then it's even harder at the 250s. You have to win two in a row to get up to the top. And then at the top, you play till you lose, basically. The $500 level. But we're going to start at the hundreds today. So let's hop in here. Gonna register right now against Carmenaya and Recreational. Oh, I really thought that it got me there. I got triggered. I was like, we're playing for 24K. No, we're not playing for 24K. All right, let's go, you guys. For 200 bucks, but to hopefully get the first spin win, and I'll fold the King 4 offsuit, which isn't great. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. Gonna limp in for 10 here. And start with the check, bottom pair. Good enough. We don't want to play a big pot right now. We want to play a small pot, so let's check call. Turn is a deuce of clubs, which is not a good card for us. And they bet 40 on the turn. So I think we have to fold. It's unfortunate because we might have the best hand. The problem is going to come on the river there, I think, quite often. We are going to not like any clubs for sure. You know, like every club, we're just going to lose the pot, I think. We're either going to get bluffed or they're going to have a better hand. And even a lot of the other cards that roll off on the top, if we face another bet, it's going to be so hard to call down with fourth pair when the clubs get there on the turn as well. So just give it up and one of those annoying spots. Open the ace deuce, get a call from Carmenaya. Carmenaya. All right. Pretty connected board here. Let's bet 60 into 90. 2/3. Take it down. Okay. Going to limp, and I'm not going to fold. I think our hand's too good to fold. So if we get shoved on here, so be it. We limp call. But as is, we go to a flop, which is 10-8-7 with clubs. Bet on the turn. And the turn is interesting because I don't think we're getting a 7 or an 8 to fold very often, but we've got so much equity. And now the river is quite bad. It's a bad card to bluff. If you have an 8 or a 7, you love this card, right? It's less likely I have a 10. I'm probably not going to bet a 10 on the turn very often. You know, it's just like, how do we have anything good here? We've got to decide, do we want to bluff catch on the river? And I don't think we have the right hand to do it. This hand's been kind of a mess, but I mean, we blocked the straight draws, we blocked the club draws, we blocked the king, queen, king, jacks. I mean, everything we want them to be bluffing with, we have in our hands. So I just give up and expect them to have an 8 there. Ace jack here, we've got just over 10 blinds as the blinds are up to 20-40 now. So really positive potential in this spot. Min raise from Recreational. We're going to go for the all-in here with the ace jack. As we take it down 5-10. Breckman, thanks so much for the 37-month resub, man. Welcome back to the team. Hearts out in chat. And I guess limp here with king 8. I like playing our hand, but I don't like raise folding or raise calling. Go to a flop. And we like our hand, but check back. 3 ways here. Second pair. We don't want to play a big pot. We do see a bad turn. Ace is maybe the worst turn. Check again. And a pretty bad river, too. Beat by any ace, any queen, and of course any 9, which is possible for these players to have a 9. Recreational bets, and I'll give it up. Just a bad run-up, you know? Just a bad run-up. We saw 2 of the worst possible cards there. We're all in with ace 6 suited against Carmania. With queens, we need, so many outs. So many outs there. A lot of chances, but unfortunately we can't do it. Clubs, 7, ace. All right, GG. We lose the first 100, which means we're going to have to win 200s in a row to get back up to the 250s, but we'll see. Second try here. Coming in. Good luck. All right, here we go. Don Matzi, 62, and Negrin. Let's see what we got here. We spin for $300, okay, 300 bucks. Negrin limps. We're going to check here with the 10-8 to go to a flop of 9-8-5. Good flop for us. Second pair. Bet of 20. We will call. Not quite good enough to raise here. Tough Spot dropping the 21-month resub. What's up, Tough Spot? Welcome to the team. Let's get some love of the chat for that subscription. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate it, Tough Spot. Thank you, thank you. Call again on the turn. River's a 4. Pretty close here. Our 10 is not a great card to have because we block some draws, but nonetheless, we check and we do win, which is nice. They have the 7x draw. We do block like some of the straight draws with our 10, so if they bet the river, we're in a close spot, I'd say. It's whether we call or not, but thankfully we just get the showdown and it's all good, man. It is all good. Check, check. Check on the turn as well. Oof. Yikes. Nice. Okay, we take it. Don Matsy 62. Checks down with the Jack Deuce. No bluffs there. Nothing. We'll raise up 10-9. Again, this is a similar hand, I think, to the King 5. I mean, 10-9 is more playable. It flops more straight draws than the King 5. But it's also, like, it's a little iffy. You know what I mean? Not going to bluff three ways here. I'm being tested in the spins so far today in terms of, like, hey, how comfortable do you feel with your pre-flop button opening range without antes? How good do you feel about it? Small bet here. We're going to fold. A6. Okay, this is decent. Definitely worth playing. I will raise to 70. I don't really like when they raise jam here. Like when they jam for 25 blinds. It's tough. I think by the book we probably just call. So I'll call. Or we check back. Chop. Nice, okay. Negrin bets 450 here. Ooh, that's a flush. Okay, we're heads up. We're heads up against Negrin. We're going to limp in with a 6-4. Ace-4 deuce in the flop. Go for a bet of 30. This is a wide bet, right? But it's very likely we have the best hand with a pair of 4s here. I think they're going to raise with most of their aces in their hand pre-flop. And it's a pretty dry board. So I like going for a bet. Ace on the turn. I will check now and hopefully induce a bluff on the river. Ace is full of 4s. Really likely we have the best hand here, I think. This is a thin raise for value. This is a thin raise for value, man. But I'm going to try anyways. Because I just think that Negrin with all their pairs is going to want to raise pre. I mean, there's maybe a few slow plays with like big pairs like kings, queens, jacks, or whatever. And I think it's really hard to have an ace because there's 3 on the board, obviously. So, yeah. It's just really hard for Negrin to have a really good hands. Call for 30, 1/4 of pot with 3 parts to a royal flush. Ace on the turn does not help our hand directly. Can we call on the turn? Probably not for a 2/3 sizing. We might have just folded the best hand. It's tough to say. We don't know. Ugh. Yikes. It's another really close spot there. 3 to a straight, 3 to a flush. 2 broadways. But ace high board puts us in a tough spot. Just going to jam ace-6 and ace-3 snap calls. And unfortunately, it hits a 3. Pretty unlucky. My thinking for jamming here as opposed to like raising. You don't jam very many hands for 16 blinds. But ace-6 is really not very playable post-flop. I mean, we got into an ace-6 play for 21 blinds. Or 25 blinds where we got limp jammed on. So just go for the rip here. I'm not going to do it with many hands. Some small pairs, you know, a weak ace like this kind of. And unlucky against ace-3, you know. We have a slight edge in this spot. Flop a spade draw as well, but it doesn't happen. So we're back down to the 50s for the last spin of this episode. Let's see if we can't fare better here and get back up to the hundreds. The rules here are now back to normal, which is if you win 1, you move up in stakes. And if you lose 2 at this level, you have to move down in stakes. So that's the rules. Just going to wait for an opponent here at the 50s. All right, Luca All-Star and Jib the Artist. Or Gib, I don't know. $150, okay. Plan for 3x. Let's get back to the hundreds for next episode and give it another shot at getting to the 250s. That is the goal here. And, of course, the $150 as well. First hand, 6-4 suited in the big blinds. Perhaps playable. We'll see what happens. Limp, limp. That's nice. Should have almost considered a raise here with this hand, too. As a pre-flop bluff, but I think it's okay to check as well. I don't know what I like doing here. And my thinking is, well, we have a flush draw, and flush draw's right, nice. But we don't hit this board hardly ever, right? We don't have any aces, kings, or jacks. If we check and they bet, we're going to have to fold, though, because we don't have enough equity. So what's the likelihood that our bluff is successful? It's low, but is it enough that we can rely on sometimes hitting a spade to make the best hand? And then also sometimes it works, you know. Like, let's say 20% of the time it works. That might be too high, though. I don't really know what to do on the turn. On the river, we hit a pair of 6s, but I'm still not going to call the bets. I mean, they limped pre-flop. I don't think there's too many hands that completely miss on an ace-king-jack here. Can call the turn and want to bluff the river. It's just, it's pretty unlikely. So we improve our hands, but definitely fold on the end. Moving on. Fold the raise. Call the 5x raise with the 7-8. And look at the flop. Open ender. I think I'm going to play fast here. They have about 2x pot left. But, yeah, we'll just go for the bluff, and it works, which is great. Limp in with the 8-9. I'm going to start with the check. They bet on the turn. We're going to call to the river, which is a 4. After check checks on the flop, I don't really buy it. The big sizing. I mean, it's impressive if they go for big sizing twice with a jack. But how likely is it? Yeah, I don't know. Let's just call. Like, I think it's fine. I think that's okay. And it works out, which is great. Going to raise king, queen. Willing to go all in here. If need be. If they decide it's time to gamble, I'll gamble with you. But we get a call and a call. Flop is king 10-6, 2 hearts. I think we're going to get action here. It's not for sure, but it's a pretty juicy flop, right? There's a lot going on. I'll bet 75. Hopefully someone has something here. I mean, all the straight draws and the flush draws and the 10x and the king x and everything, man. Limp in with the 10-7. And check call here. Gut shot, backdoor flush draw, overcards. Pretty good flop, but not one where we want to build the pot yet. King of hearts on the turn, and now I like betting. I like betting with our hand. A lot of good rivers for our hands. And just getting them to fold is cool, too. I'm going to go for a thin value bet here of 75 and fold to a raise. And it worked. We could call by worse, which is awesome. Luca is going to be all in here, right? I mean, yeah, and I'm going to limp. I'm going to try and induce a shove. Like a limp, a complete, a shove, and then we call. But Jib does not fall for it. Kings against ace deuce. No 5, no Barry, no problems. We got it. All right, heads up match here. Got a nice lead. 2-1 lead, but it can all turn around in an instant. We know that. We've seen it before. This is the last spin of the episode to try and get back up to, for next episode, the 100s. If we win. If we lose, we're going to get one more shot at the 50s. We'll see how it goes. Check at the flop. We're going to check at the turn as well. We don't have any outs if our bluff isn't successful. You know, it'd be so much nicer to bluff with clubs or with diamonds or with straight draws or even like an ace, although an ace can try and get the showdown. You know, as some backup, right? Something. They ended up having 10-9 and not bluffing there, which is good to know. I think it's a good flop for 10-9 to bet. I'm surprised it didn't. Moving on. We get a walk. King 5 is good enough for me. It's king 6. No! Hit it. 4! Let's go. Taking it down. Lucky there on the last hand. We're going to chop so often, but we get it done. And that's it for the spin episode. So unsuccessful at the hundreds, but we make it back for next episode. 2 spins at the hundreds coming up.